What's up, I'm Matty Marshall. You're watching the Matty Ho Show at exhale.com. Check it out. What's up, Matty Marshall, Matthieu Chanstin. All right, man. Hard last name to pronounce, but you need to know this guy. This is the guy, if you are a paintball fan, I'm sure you've seen FACEFULL Magazine. I'm sure you've read all the articles in there, real in-depth, you know, profiles about the guys and all the legends of the sport and such. This is the guy that writes all of those articles. So he's giving you the inside information. So this is a guy you need to know. Also, he's got an interesting kind of tact on the sport because he knows all these guys. You also play for the Tauntauns in Europe. You've been around the sport for a while. How do you think the sport's going right now? I mean, being on the inside and, you know, writing all these stories on these guys, it's kind of an interesting dynamic that they have. I mean, you have these guys who, they're regular people, you know, and in big time sports, these players kind of get elevated above normal society. We are normal society, you know? I mean, how is that dealing with all these stories?
Well, it's kind of crazy because paintball is such as a detailed and crazy conjuncture at the moment where the sport is, on the one hand, it's kind of exploding. On the other hand, we have this complete reforming of the professional circuit.
Yeah.
All the old guys are going out, and then we have new guys coming in.
Yeah.
It's just very interesting, and what's great about paintball, it's a universe. You step out of paintball, nobody knows the pros. So it's always really interesting.
Well, yeah, it's like
a world.
It's like Rich says, you know, he comes here and companies are just throwing $1,500 guns at him. Here, shoot this gun. Here, just take it for free, you know. And he, you know, walk into 7-Eleven and you know, no one knows who the hell he is, you know.
Exactly. You can buy FACEFULL in 7-Eleven, by the way.
Yeah.
50 states.
Yes, you can.
But it's exactly what it is. We're at the point where pro teams get so much money, and we may wonder what kind of money do companies get back at this point.
Yeah.
Because it's such a small world.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, this small world is also exploding within itself and reaching outside.
Now, you being the guy that's getting the inside stories on these players, how important, because I think it's very important for the people to know those stories so they actually care about these heroes that they hear about.
Exactly.
And they have a reason to care. If you don't, and that's, I mean, the rest of all these other big industries and these big sports, they spoon feed the information to their fans.
Exactly.
So that, you know, they can just regurgitate facts and all these insights to these guys. I mean, how important do you think that is? I mean, you're a storyteller yourself, so that's got to be, you know, one of your motivations.
Exactly, it's kind of fantastic. Paintball, on the one hand, we have a pro circuit, professional athletes. On the other hand, it is a small circuit. What does that give to the fan, to the paintball enthusiast? You can walk around at a paintball tournament and go to the Dynasty guy, the Excessive guys, the Avalanche guys, shake their hands, tell them how much you enjoy watching them play, and that's great. On the other hand, because it's so small, these guys don't have agents.
Yeah.
We get to talk to these guys like us at FACEFULL. We get to talk to them, hang out with them, and then write stories about that. It's one-on-one.
Yeah.
What the reader gets is my experience as a writer with those players, and not what these players' agent have decided we should tell the public.
Yes, that's
and
true.
It's just amazing.
It's a fabulous insight.
It's exactly that. We got readers who tell us, we read FACEFULL and we feel like we know these guys. We feel like we've been friends for a while.
It's because you're good at your job.
And because pro players are great.
Yeah.
They talk, they give us all the stories, the good, the bad, the ugly. They don't spare anything.
Yeah.
And because it's not so much money yet, they really don't have much to lose at this point.
Yeah.
They want to reach out. They want people to know who they are.
Yeah. Now, talk to me a little bit about, you know, you have the inside track on the sport and the dynamic. Now, being that you play in Europe with the Tauntauns and the European paintball, and you have American paintball, and paintball's blowing up all over the world. And you have the Russians and the Swedes, and they're, you know, competing at the top level and having success. What do you think it's going to take to get, you know, like France and Britain and some of these other places where there is a lot of paintball, and Germany, and I know it's really hard to play. People don't understand. Paintball is almost illegal in a lot of places like Japan, Australia.
Is illegal.
Yeah, exactly. So how is that for those European players to try to compete at this level over here? It's so expensive and hard for them.
Well, you really have two problems. The main problem the Europeans have, as opposed to the American, is the culture of the gun. Europe doesn't really like guns. We have World War I, World War II, the 1870s war.
Yeah.
You know, generation of people have been killed by guns.
Yeah.
Europeans don't really like guns and are comfortable with the idea of shooting something at somebody else. In the US, you have that gun culture. People have no problem playing a sport where you eliminate somebody.
Yeah.
Americans really do make a difference.
Yeah.
Make the distinction that Europeans have a hard time doing. On the other hand, American is a mass market. You can afford to unload lots of products and downsize your pricing.
Yeah.
Europe, you can't really do that. It's a small market. Everything's expensive. It's in Europe right now. People still pay easily $50-$60 for a case of practice paintballs.
Yeah.
You know,
where it's $25-$30 for the California players. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's real hard to bring young players in Europe because of the price of paint, of guns. It's real hard for young players to be interested in paintball in Europe because their parents don't like guns because maybe grandpa fought in World War II.
And or they had family, whole families were destroyed.
Family
towns,
died.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's two different worlds right now. But what's great is the Europeans have proven to be innovators.
Yes.
Airball, FACEFULL Magazine,
Planet Eclipse,
WDP, like really always on top of a world that's smaller in Europe. And in the US, you have this fantastic enthusiasm for the sport.
Yeah.
People just throwing their bodies around.
Yeah.
Pros all over the place. Young kids just wanting to play hard.
Yeah.
And when the two worlds meet, you get great tournaments.
Do you think that if the European public could understand that, you know, when you go and play paintball, you understand that this is visceral, it's real, and that if you pick up a real gun, you know, I mean, I don't know how many times you've been shot where you just randomly got shot, you know? I mean, and if you take that to the real world, so this is a playground, you know? I mean, it's war for us on a competition level.
It's a sport.
Yeah, it's a sport. Exactly, it's a sport, and I think that if the public, you know, it's like Max and Alex Lundqvist, they come from Sweden. That's a very liberal culture, and their parents, you know, they don't like guns up there either. But their parents, they say it almost should be mandatory for young men to play paintball because it gets that demon out. You know, they don't need to go out and find that real war because they're already purging that demon out of them.
Exactly.
You know?
But in the US, you got sports like football, which are just so violent. Lacrosse.
And you played football.
I played football. I played college lacrosse.
Yeah.
And it really gets it out of you.
Yeah.
In Europe, you got rugby, which is just as nuts.
Yes.
But it's the gun. It's the stigma of the gun.
It is the stigma of the gun. Well, hey, thank you.
Being fought right now.
Yeah, it is. Well, hey, thank you for fighting your battle.
Welcome, Matty.
And doing what you're doing, because if we didn't have guys like you telling these stories, then, you know, we need people like that have the insight and the skill. You know, this guy's got a PhD, man, and he's balling out here too, you know, so.
D2, Myrtle Beach Authority. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you for kicking it with us, and we'll be out. We're going to go watch some games.
Oh, let's go VIP.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, later, bro.
Thanks.